Welcome to Changing Minds with your host, King of the Broad-Minded Thinkers, Daryl Davis. Presenting guests with original thought-provoking content, bringing you wider perspectives on things you know, and challenging you with information you've never considered. Tired of the same old, same old? This is the place to be.
Changing Minds.
Welcome to Changing Minds. I'm your host, Daryl Davis. As a musician who played with Chuck Berry for 3 decades, I got to meet and see some of the best acts out there. I can tell you that one of the greatest rock bands ever was Little Richard's band. Where other bands would pop, Richard's would go boom. The energetic backing that they provided, combined with Richard's nuclear talent, was enough to power an entire city. From start to finish, the band sizzled on stage. The man responsible for making that happen was the great saxophonist Kenny International Walker. When I was working with Chuck Berry and Little Richard was also on the bill, it was always a pleasure to see Kenny make musical magic. When he wasn't touring with Richard, he would sometimes come and play gigs with the Daryl Davis Band, and my stage was then set on fire, and my game was stepped up 10 notches. It was always a great honor to play with Kenny, and it's an honor to have him here on Changing Minds. Kenny, welcome to the show.
Hey, hi, Daryl. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How have you been?
Pretty good. Been staying at home a lot lately.
We all are staying at home a lot lately, and that's just something that we musicians are not used to. Especially you, man. You work, like 365 days out of the year, man. The only day you have off might be leap year, if that.
Oh, I don't work that much. 164, I think. Hey.
I hear you, man. Let's go back to the days before coronavirus, and then we'll get into this lockdown thing. But how old were you when you first started playing, and what were you listening to?
Oh, I think about 12.
And how old are you now?
69.
Okay, so at 12 years old, you was saxophone your first instrument?
No. Oh, my first instrument. You know what? I started saxophone at 12. I started playing in the 4th grade, so I was about 8, maybe. 8 or 9. I played bugle. My first instrument was saxette, then bugle.
Okay, 4th grade probably would have been around 10 years old.
Yeah, 10 years old.
Okay, so bugle and then later on saxophone. But saxophone's your primary instrument, right?
Right.
Yeah. So who did you listen to coming up?
When I really got serious, I started listening to Junior Walker first. Junior Walker
and the All-Stars, Shotgun.
Junior Walker and the All-Stars. Yeah, I thought I was Junior Walker. And then Maziel. And then I thought I was Maziel.
Maziel from James Brown?
Yeah, Maziel Parker, the man who invented funk. Then came Stanley Turrentine and King Curtis, and I went that way. I was more into funk, soul. Back then it was called soul.
Right, soul music.
Yeah.
What do they call it today? R&B or something? But the term R&B has changed so much.
Well,
yeah,
but it's all R&B. They just call it. They just categorize R&B. That's all. It's R&B.
Yeah, it's sort of like jazz, for example. If you ask your father to name a jazz trumpeter, he might say Louis Armstrong,
right?
And you might say Miles Davis, and your son might say Wynton Marsalis. It's all jazz, but each one of them is very different.
Yeah, different era, different style.
But the same old name.
Yeah, same name. Well, they really did change the name R&B, though. But it's all R&B.
Well, when Little Richard was playing back in his heyday when he first began, that music, what we call today rock and roll, that was R&B. Boogie Woogie was R&B.
He always said it's all R&B.
It stands for real black.
Yeah,
that's what he said. Yeah.
Somebody named it rock and roll, but it's R&B.
Right. And when you were listening to people like Stanley Turrentine, of course, was a great jazz saxophonist. So you were influenced by jazz and R&B and funk. Big Maceo, Maceo Parker, and King Curtis. King Curtis played just about on everybody's records.
He did his greatest solos on other people's records.
Yes, he did. He most certainly did. And his life ended so young and so tragically.
Oh yeah,
he was stabbed in his stairwell of his New York apartment, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. What a great loss to the music industry. So going in that direction musically, how did you? Tell me about who you played with first before encountering Little Richard.
Actually, nobody really famous before Little Richard. I played with a band, a 12-piece band with an 8-piece horn section. That was my band I started playing with at 15. 15? Yes, 15 years old. I started playing. My brother started a band, and he just loved horns. He wanted horns. He already had 4 horns, and then I joined him. He got 5, and then he gets 6, and then 7, and we had 8 horns. We had the largest funk band in America.
Never too many horns, huh?
Never too many.
So was it a horny band or what?
We were the original horny band. The original horns. Yeah, we had this 12-piece band with all these horns, but the thing that stood out besides being a large band, which that stood out by itself, we could dance. We were the dancing, and we could dance and play. We were like aerobics, where you did the aerobics, but you played the music you was dancing to.
Well, that's what dancing is, because I see too many people out here moving around on the dance floor, but they're not moving in sync with the music. So I don't call that dancing. I just call that I don't know what I call it. But dancing is when you are moving in sync to the music.
Yes.
You guys were doing that because I've seen you do that many times on stage.
Yeah, we had a whole band that could do that.
Yeah. Now I know that you played at some point with Isaac Hayes, right?
Yeah, that was before Richard. Yeah, we played with Isaac Hayes. We backed Luther Ingram. We used to be with Stax. That band that I was just talking about, we actually, when the last guy graduated from high school or just decided to leave, we moved to Memphis. We just drove down there. We got in we had a school bus. We drove down there in our school bus, and we just stopped the guy on the corner and said, "Hey, where's the best live band club in the city?" This was in Memphis. He told us, he said, "Go to the Showcase." We went down to the Showcase, and the guy was cleaning up the place. We asked him. He said, "We're a band. We're the best band in the world."
All right.
We actually told him that we're the best band in the world, and we want a job at this club right here. And we blew his mind by saying that. He went inside. The owner's name was Cliff Miller. He went inside and called Cliff Miller. And Cliff Miller said, "The baddest band in the world. All right, let them in. Let them in. They can spend the night at the club. And I'll see them in the morning. Tell them to set up, and I'll come in and hear." We went in the club. We set up our equipment, and we slept there in the club. Didn't know this guy. This guy didn't know us. We drove into town. He came in. He came in that morning. We were all ready. He said, "Okay, I want to hear the best band in the world." We got up there and started playing and doing our steps. The guy, he said, "I tell you what, I can't pay you. We don't usually open right now, but y'all play every Wednesday, and you can stay here in the club. I'll give you enough money to eat." So we did that. We started playing on a Wednesday.
Now, hold on a second. The best band in the world was not getting paid.
I didn't say we were the smartest band in the world.
Man, that is an old story, man. I mean, that's every musician's story.
What do you mean we didn't get paid? He gave us food. He gave us food money. We had lunch money.
Uh-huh.
We had minimum wage.
Like you said, not the best band in the world, but not the smartest band in the world. How many Wednesdays did you play there?
We played there, there's no telling. We played there forever, seems like. We played there until the place just was so crowded on Wednesday, they added Thursday.
And you still weren't getting paid.
Oh, we started getting paid a little bit more. We could eat. We were moved up to half.
You got a meal and dessert.
We got fries with that.
Oh man. Okay.
I guess we started getting a little bit more because we went all the way to the weekend. Pretty soon we was playing there Friday, Saturday, and we were doing pretty good. And then, but little did we know, this was the Barcades' home base. This was their club. They would come in. They would be on the road. They had a song out called "Son of Shaft," I think. Mm-hmm. And they would come. They was on the road. So when they came back in, they usually played there on Wednesday. And he would have a battle of the bands. You know.
So your band and the Barcades.
Big Wednesday night. Talk all over town, Memphis.
What was the name of your band at the time?
A Different Bag.
A Different Bag. Okay.
We were different. We dressed kind of like Sly Stone, and we was way out there.
So James Brown's Papa had a brand new bag, and you had a different bag.
Different bag. Well, actually, our original name was the New Breed Band, and we got that from a James Brown record. He said New Breed something, New Breed thing or New Breed something, and Papa's got a brand new bag.
Yeah.
And dig this New Breed bag or something. I don't know what he said. Well, he had New Breed in there. We got that because we thought we were James Brown.
Now, eventually, you became a member of the Barcades?
No, the Barcades couldn't stand us. We put a whooping on them so heavy. In their own club, in their own town, that's how we started. That's how Isaac Hayes started managing us. He was our manager. He was there. Okay. Stax was there. Everybody in Memphis was there. Rufus Thomas, Carla Thomas, Al Green, everybody. They were all there, standing up front and standing up, clapping their hands, and they were all, this was Barclays town. So,
did you get a chance to work with Al Green?
Al Green, no, but Al Green wanted us. He wanted us too. We went with Isaac Hayes because he had the bigger name at the time. Al Green had back up this train out in the '60s, and he had "Can't Get Next to You" out at the time in Memphis, and that was it. Now, So
did you ever meet speaking of horns in Memphis? Did you ever meet Willie Mitchell?
Willie Mitchell was that Al Green's manager? I think that was.
No, he had like the Memphis Horns or something.
Oh yeah, he was with the Marquis.
Yes, yeah. The Marquis. Yes.
Well, see, the last Marquis album was the Barcades rhythm section and our horn section. We were the last Marquis. We were the last Memphis Horns. We did an album in Memphis. We were recording. Other people's songs on that came out of Stax at the time.
So you knew Al Bell and those people over there at Stax?
They were all there.
Yeah. So now Isaac Hayes was managing you. Did there come a time though when he began performing and you played with Isaac?
We only played with Isaac, I think once. He sat in with us. We used to open the show for him. We used to tour with him and open the show for him. We didn't actually play behind him, but that time he came to L.A. and we were playing, and he jumped up there and started singing. So that's the same thing with James Brown. We played with James Brown a couple of times, but it was because we were playing. We were at the Apollo. And we started doing some James Brown medleys, and he couldn't stand it. He jumped up there and started. First time he jumped up and just started dancing. And the next time we played there, he got up and started singing.
At the legendary Apollo Theater in New York City.
Yeah, that's when him and his band split. Maziel was with his band. It was called Maziel and All the King's Men. And before the Barcades came back and we played with them on that Wednesday night, we played with Maziel. Maziel came with All the King's Men, and they did their thing, which was just a James Brown show. Maziel was James Brown and Maziel. He screamed, Maziel, and then he started playing. They were tight and they were good, but they missed James Brown. And then that's after that is when we went to Apollo. We were playing at the Apollo, and James Brown was there, and he jumped up. So he saw us, they saw us, and about a month later, James Brown and Maziel and All the King Men was back together again for a little while. It didn't last long, but they got back together. I think we had some influence on that.
I hear you. So now, at what point did you meet Little Richard? And now you've been playing all this funk and this jazz. How did you get tied up in 1950s rock and roll?
Well, we left Memphis and went to Los Angeles. And we were playing at this club in Beverly Hills called the Climax 2. And this was it. This was the club in LA. We went from the club in Memphis to the club in LA. And we had lines around the block. The place was packed, how many nights we played? 5, 6 nights a week. Richard heard about us. Somebody told him, you got to go see these guys. So he came. He saw us. We played one song. He came up and handed my brother, he was the drummer and the band leader, he handed him a note. And my brother, my brother told him, put it down on the stage. I'm playing. So he put it down there. And then after we finished playing, he looked at it. It said, come to my room, bring the band, come to my hotel room. At the end of the show, I want to talk to you guys. Well, we went. After the show, we went, 12 people walked in this little bitty motel. He stayed in a motel on La Brea and Sunset. And he said, I want to hire the band. How much you charge? And my brother told him. Now, we got paid then. And he said, oh, okay, I can pay that. We leaving Wednesday. And so, and of course, we were living at the club on, the Beverly Hills Club we were playing at. We actually lived there too.
You lived at the Climax too?
Yeah, we lived there.
Now, let me ask you something. Did they pay you at the Climax too, or just feed you with fries?
Yeah, they paid us. It was Richard Mayo, a guy named Richard Mayo owned that club, and he paid us. I don't remember ever having any money, but he paid us.
Okay.
And then, but we had a little falling out with him, and he told us we had to leave by Wednesday.
So that worked out.
That worked out perfect.
Now, who was Richard using prior to you all, or did he not have a band at the time?
Oh, Richard had a band. He had a rhythm section. He had like 2 or 3 rhythm sections and a saxophone player. That's all. Okay. That's all. His show was just rhythm section and 1 horn. So it didn't matter. Richard already had a band. He hired us. If that's what you're getting to, he hired us. He already had a band. We had 2 drummers. We had 2. I remember one night we had 3 bass players.
Oh man!
But we always had 2 drummers. And just guitars galore. I mean, everybody that traveled would play the guitar. It was, you see them with their entourage all the time. But like in those days, those was a bunch of musicians.
Well, when I first started seeing Richard as a teenager myself, going to rock and roll shows, he would have one drummer. He might have 2 guitars, but one played lead, one played rhythm, one bass player. and one sax player, and then of course himself on the piano.
What year would that
And
be?
then that was back in the 1970s. And then when I started, doing shows with Chuck Berry and be on shows with Richard, everything was doubled. We had two bass players, two guitar players, two drummers, and about 4 or 5 horn players.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, that you all, I'll tell you right now, you guys had the tightest and most driving rock and roll band of all time. I mean, people talk about the greatest rock and roll band in the world, Led Zeppelin or Rolling Stones. The Little Richard Band, the last Little Richard Band, in my opinion, I'm not saying this because you're on the show. I've said this for years, before I knew you. Little Richard has the greatest rock and roll band of all time.
No, you're saying that because you know what you're talking about.
Well, I do, and I have worked with some of the greatest rock and rollers of all time.
No, I agree with you because I really felt that too because he didn't really play rock and roll. That band didn't really play rock and roll strictly like rock and roll was interpreted by the rock and rollers that Richard inspired. He took it up. He had a little funk in his rock and roll. That band.
Well, he had a little funk, but he had a lot of energy. The whole band just sizzled, just popped on the stage. Nobody in the audience could sit still when Richard took that stage. I mean, I don't know if it was because we're hearing 2 sets of drums just kicking us in the butt, or the powerful section of a horn section, or the driving bass that Charles Glenn played, or whatever it was. I mean, it kicked, and it was tight. James Brown, also had a very tight band. I mean, he rehearsed nonstop, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But Richard's band was just as tight and just as well choreographed. And the many times, that I would see you guys. I mean, I loved it when I would be on a show with Chuck Berry and Little Richard would be on the show. Just to watch you guys in action was fantastic.
Yeah, well, we took a lot of pride in putting on a good show. And Richard wouldn't have it no other way anyway. So you had to be tight. He would if he heard something funny, he'd tell you right there on stage in front of everybody.
Yeah, I've seen him do that.
Yeah, I played when I first started playing. That was like in '72 when I was telling you about the club and we left and went with him. I've seen him tell a guitar player, stop right in the middle of the song and say, your G string is off. Tune up the G string. And the guy, I feel sorry for the guy because the audience seemed to like it. So Richard started doing it almost every night to the same guy. And we'd be making jokes. No, that was his A string. That was the string.
Now, does Richard have perfect pitch?
No, I don't think so. But he's got some kind of pitch though, because he'll come out, start singing a song, and it'd be in the right key, whatever key, just start singing.
Right.
And
well, I mean, he's been doing it for so long. It could be, muscle memory, or it could be perfect pitch.
Yeah, but he was pretty good like that.
You arranged the choreography for you horn guys?
Yeah, I did all the choreography. Yes.
So where'd you learn how to dance?
Well, I took tap dancing lessons when I was like 7 or 8 for about 15 minutes.
Yeah, but that wasn't tap dancing I saw you doing up there.
No, but it let me know what one was, It gave me a beat. It gave me a pattern. And then you learn patterns, you know what a pattern is. And then you add that to music, you have to know what a pattern is. And then, because I used to thought I could dance anyway, Chubby Checker came out with the twist. I wanted to be the twist king. But Sammy Grant got that crown, but he was chubby, so he won. But I could out twist him, but he just had that look, He was called Chubby Checker, so they gave it to him. But,
now you know where Chubby Checker got his name from? You know what his real name was? You know what his real name is?
No.
Yeah, he's a very good friend of mine. Chubby Checker's real name is Ernest Evans, Ernie Evans,
Ernie Evans.
and he came out, around the time that Fats Domino was big, and he was on American Bandstand, and Mrs. Clark, Dick Clark's wife, decided that he needed a name, so she thought of Fats Domino, and she named him Chubby Checker. Yeah. But his real name is Ernest Evans.
Yeah, he's still doing it too.
Yes, he is, and he works all year long, man. That guy is a hard worker, and he still got it. So who were some of Richard's favorite contemporaries of his?
Louis Jordan.
Louis Jordan preceded Richard a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, contemporaries. Fats Domino. He loved Fats Domino. Ruth
Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, she sang with us one night. They sat there on the piano and did a song together. That was great.
Well, she had a great deal of influence on Little Richard's vocal stylings.
Yeah,
all those squeals. He said that came from Ruth Brown.
Yeah, he loved
Church and Ruth Brown.
But contemporaries, you mean like right now, or what do you mean?
No. Contemporary for him, like Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Fats Domino, Buddy Holly. The people, the pioneers, rock and rolling people, rockabilly people.
Well, he had a lot of respect for Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis. I don't think he cared for Pat Boone too much, but
Pat Boone. Okay.
At first he was real pissed off about him recording his songs, but then it made his songs bigger. It was better for him.
It was better for him in terms of fame. It wasn't better for him in terms of money because he didn't have the copyrights at the time to songs that Pat Boone did, like Long Tall Sally and Tutti Frutti, which became big hits for Pat Boone. Unfortunately, Richard did not own the copyrights at that time. He had signed them away. But people knew these were Richard's songs, so it gave him, more spotlight, but didn't give him any more money. And he had to try to sue to get those rights back. And nobody can sing those songs like Little Richard. I mean, Pat Boone didn't even come close.
Well, he did that on purpose. He started off fast, and he got even faster when Pat Boone was trying to copy him. He sang the song. He said, "Let him try to sing it like this," and he sang it faster. But yeah, he did get more money because he got more exposure and he got more jobs and he got paid more. But as far as royalties, he in the end he might have got a little bit because he ended up suing and getting some of that money, some of it back. He actually got a lot of his money from Michael Jackson. See, Michael Jackson was buying up the catalog that had a lot of Richard songs on it. And
Michael Jackson was a smart guy. He bought up the Beatles catalog, Sly and the Family Stone. He even owned some of Elvis Presley's stuff. Elvis never wrote anything, but the copyrights to the songs that Elvis recorded.
Right. Well, his wife gave him Elvis stuff.
Yeah.
And Elvis' daughter.
Yeah, Lisa Marie.
Yeah, that's how he got his and then see, Richard was suing the company that owned, and they were all connected. The Beatles and all this was under one company, and Michael couldn't buy them because they were in a lawsuit with Richard. Michael called Richard up and said, "How much are you asking for? What are you suing them for?" And Richard told him. He said, "Well, come on over." He went over to what do you call it, Wonderland or
Neverland?
Neverland. He drove up there with Mark. Mark Holland.
Yeah,
yeah. Mark drove him up there, and Richard came out. He got out of the car. He went in and came back out with a check. Michael gave him a check, dropped the lawsuit, and Michael bought all that. That's when he got that catalog. Wow.
Well, that was very, very generous of Michael.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Smart.
I know. Very smart. I know Paul McCartney and Michael were once friends, but I guess they had a falling out when he bought up the Beatles catalog. I think Paul had wanted to buy it.
Well, see, Paul gave him the idea. That's why he was so mad. Paul was gonna buy it. See,
Right. Yeah. Well, early bird gets the worm, right?
yeah. Michael said, "That's a great idea, Paul," and then he went and bought them.
So how many years did you work with Richard?
Well, straight the last 20 years I worked with Richard, but before that I worked with him a few years here and there, a couple of years straight, 72, around 72, 73. And then I played some more gigs with him during the years, but he retired. I played with him the second time retired. The last gig he did, 73, 74.
Before he went into the ministry.
Right. Well, both times he went in the ministry. Yeah. Second time.
Now I remember you were on the show because it was Chuck Berry and Little Richard, and I was playing keys for Chuck up in New York, Westbury Music Fair. That theater in the Round. It might have been called Capitol. It changes its name every now and then, but it's really known as Westbury Music Fair. Anyway, I remember. He was opening up for Chuck, you guys were, and he announced during that show that this was his last tour, and he was retiring after this tour, and this was his final farewell and all that kind of stuff. And then I did everybody was very saddened to hear that, myself included. And I remember the following, this was like in November, December or something, and the following year. I was on another show with Chuck, playing with Chuck, and Richard was on the show. And I'm like, I thought you retired. He said, he said, this is my comeback tour.
That's right. Right. We just didn't take a break, between the comeback tour and the retirement tour.
Were you with Richard during the days, when he was, abusing drugs and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, I was there. I helped him back sometime.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard him tell the stories of his abuse, and I'm glad that man is still living. I mean, it's amazing that he is still living.
Well, he used to say it all the time. Well, I didn't know I was going to live this long, Yeah. Say that all the time. I didn't. Nobody tell me how getting old was going to be.
Well, let's talk about that. Not necessarily Richard specifically, but just musicians in general. What is it in your opinion, and just be straight out honest? What is it in your opinion that leads musicians, especially ones who are super talented, have everything in the world that the rest of us aspire to have, and they turn around and throw it away on these drugs and narcotics and things like that? I mean, you and I have both seen a lot of those kinds of people. What in your opinion is it that drives them in that direction?
Well, you get used to all that. You get used to that. You take all that for granted, and then it doesn't become as exciting anymore. You just say it's supposed to be like this. So, and then you start looking for something to make you feel like you did when you started off. When I started off, I got this great feeling just playing a high. And I got hooked on the high of playing in an orchestra. I was playing in an orchestra in junior high school, and with a big orchestra and those nice little parts, I just felt great. Then I started feeling like that playing, and then when you start losing that, you want it, and you get high, and you feel that again. Oh, wow, it's back. But some guys, they go too far with it. They I guess they stopped being nice. Then they want to get higher and higher and higher and higher. Then boom, before they know it, the drugs take over.
Yeah, but we all. I mean, I never got involved in that stuff. I was never into that. But I've seen so many people, my colleagues, my peers, get involved, and some make it and some don't. And when I say don't, I mean they're not with us anymore today. But we've had so many examples of people who, what be them, just regular everyday people or superstars like a Janis Joplin or Jimi Hendrix or Elvis Presley, people like that who have met their fate because of these vices. Isn't that enough for us to say, hey, you know what? I saw that happen to so and so. I never thought that person would die, but yet, so if that person could die, it would happen to me. But yet, we ignore all those warning signs, even when the handwriting on the wall is as large as a roadside billboard.
Well, I think another reason is a lot of those giants that we know were junkies. They were on something, and then they forget that these people were great anyway. But they tend to think like, I could be better. I could be a giant like them if I did that. What they're doing, that must be the secret. And a lot of them get hooked like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
so they think that the drug is going to make them into the superstar that they admire.
Right. It's going to take them over the peak, just make them be just that much greater. But I played with a bunch of people like that, and they were just good. They were just good anyway. As a matter of fact, if they wasn't high, they might have been a little better, But that's the way they went, and it came from a history of it. Back in the days, a lot of people were just high back in the days, and they just carried on, I guess.
Yeah. Now, Richard is retired now. I think I saw maybe his second to last show or something here in Washington, D.C., the Capitol Fourth that he did with the $1 Million Quartet. They were on the bill that night, 4th of July, some years ago, a few years back. What do you miss most about playing in that great Little Richard band?
I don't know. I missed the whole thing. Playing on stage with him, that playing with that band.
Are there some places that around the world or nationally that you feel like they're the most?
My favorite was Las Vegas. I just like Las Vegas. I like to gamble for one thing.
Okay.
But when we're there for at least a week or a few days. We don't have to travel. That's the main thing I like. You're playing in one place. You do that one sound check. You do that one group sound check.
And so it's a house band gig.
Yeah. You just get dressed, walk, and take the elevator downstairs and walk up, and it's time to go. Let's go. I liked it.
Yeah.
That was the best. And the sound system at those casinos. They have the best sound system. You don't have to worry it's going to be right. It don't even matter how the sound check went. A sound check was a formality. I ran into one bad spot in Vegas, but all of them, basically, you do the sound check, and then when you leave, those guys, they do it. They fix it up right, even if you didn't do it right. They when you come...
Oh, yeah.
It's just bam. Especially Caesar's Palace had this tight room that was really nice.
Well, I mean, those guys out there have worked everybody's show day in and day out all year long. I mean, they know what they're doing out there for sure.
Yeah, and they have the best equipment too.
I hear you. Now, how about you? Let's say who were some of your favorite rock and roll people that were Richard's contemporaries, and then who are some of your favorites today?
Rock and roll?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't want to name any rock and roll because I really wasn't into rock and roll. When I first played with Richard, we standing up on the stage with Richard in the first gig was in Lake Tahoe, standing on the stage, never rehearsed with him, and counted up, and we just started playing. We made up our own rock and roll. We had the saxophone player, Bobby Forte. He would make up a few parts. We followed him on the riff. We didn't know nothing about rock and roll, We didn't really play rock and roll. We were strictly rhythm and blues, so you would play a rock and roll song or two, like Wooly Bully or something back in the old days, and but you didn't really get into rock and roll. And so I'm not a rock and roller. I am now, but I wasn't then. So I didn't have anybody coming up. I didn't really have anybody coming up to think about rock and roll.
Okay. So who do you appreciate or listen to today in the 2000s?
Well, I like Little Richard songs, and I like Chuck Berry, and
I'm talking about today, in the 2000s, after the 1990s, the 2000s.
I can't think of any body now. Rock and
Okay.
roll.
No, I mean not even rock and roll, just music in general. You mentioned Stanley Turrentine and King Curtis. They're from way back, or back in the day, I should say. Is there anybody that impresses you today out there playing saxophone or style of music?
Well, saxophone.
Today's R&B. It could be R&B. It could be whatever.
Gerald Albright. I like his style. I like him playing.
Yeah, Gerald Albright. Yeah.
There's a guy out of New Orleans. I don't even know his name, but he did something with I really like him. Let me see. Now R&B, Art Kelly. I like his what do you call that beat? That stepping style. Him and Charlie Wilson. Yeah, I like them. James Ingram, he's passed, but yeah,
he just passed last year, right?
Yeah, that was my favorite singer of all time. As far as
is that right?
Versatile, yeah. Can't think of anybody right now.
Yeah, one of the funnest times I've had was when I had you, saxophonist from Little Richard's band, and Del Pushert, saxophonist for Elvis Presley, had you both on stage with me with my band. Playing at the casino in West Virginia. That was a good time.
Yeah, that was a fun gig there. That was pretty nice. Good sound.
To hear you guys play that riff. Da 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 da.
Yeah. Oh, that was tight. That was.
Oh yeah.
That was a hell of an arrangement you did. That harmony you did on that.
Right.
That was.
So what are your future plans? What are you, when this lockdown is all over and we get back out to playing again, you have any recordings coming up in the works that you're doing? Maybe a solo CD or something, or who you're going to be working with?
Yeah, I'm going to give it that last college try to put me out a song, a nice song, a CD, but more. Well, I do have one song ready. Trying to think what to do with it, but
now you're a singer too, so you doing some vocals as well, right?
I do vocals. I wouldn't say I was a singer, but I do lead vocals.
Hey, listen, man, I've heard you. So you are a singer, you're an instrumentalist, and you're a dancer.
Yeah, regular Sammy Davis Jr. But but
it's tap dancer at that.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough out here. It's rough. It's not like the olden days. There was you could see a pattern, a straight narrow shot, but now it's just all like confusion. I don't know what a record company is. I don't know what a record company does, and there's no such a thing as a record. So that could explain it. So it's kind of strange for me right now.
Yeah, but are you going to be touring with your own band now that Richard is retired? And do you think he's retired for good now?
Yes, I really do. Yeah.
Okay. So would you consider your own band or hooking up with another band?
Yeah, mostly my own band. I've been making a lot of bands great. I've worked with a lot of bands, and I've always made them better. Especially if they had a horn section, and so I arranged horns too. Richard's band, I arranged most of their horn parts, and along with the steps and along with the clothes, I ended up making the clothes. We're gonna wear this, and we did. They did, and
You're a fashion designer now.
Now I'm a fashion designer. My mother made,
You are a fashion plate for sure, man. You always dress sharp. You always dress sharp. Even on your day off, you would dress sharp, man.
Oh yeah, you should see me now. No, wait, maybe not. But yeah. So I have a band, and I try to do all those things I did for all the other bands with my own band, and we're pretty sharp and we're pretty tight and we're pretty it's pretty good. And but I would play with other people, for just for the relaxation and the money. Because when you play with other people, you don't have any headaches. You just go do your job and get the money and come home. So
well, I'm glad you're talking money now, because back at the Climax too, and the other,
yeah, I wise real quick. The first time I started making money after we left Richard, and the band started breaking on down. We ended up with 7 original members, and we hired this one guy. Well, we hired a couple of guys. We hired who would fit. First keyboard player we hired was Bobby McFerrin.
Oh wow, yeah,
yeah, he was a keyboard player, excellent keyboard.
Yeah.
So he played keyboard and he sang a little bit. We didn't let him sing too much. He sang a lot of background, but he was a hell of a arranger. He arranged the horns, the whole band. He was just doing it for fun, because we go play in San Diego, and we'd have a band house where we would stay. He would stay in the hotel, which cost exactly the same thing as we got paid every night, So he
broke even for him.
Yes. So he said he wanted to play with a funk band. He was playing with the Ice Follies at the time. And he wanted to play with a funk band. So he played with us for a while. And then we got James Ingram. Rudy Ray Moore's sidekick, Tony introduced us to James. He started playing, and James played with us for years.
So James Ingram was in your band?
Yeah. He was a keyboard player too. But he thought he was a keyboard player. We told him, yeah, you can play keyboards really good, but you're going to sing. And he started singing. His first really lead singing job was with us. After we heard him sing, we said, whoa, and we needed a singer at the time. So we toured, we went to Japan in 1974. And from then on, Canada, we was in Canada and all over the States, and we made money. Now we're talking about money, because now we only got 8 pieces. Because 12 pieces, when you start splitting up the money, even when you're making a lot of money, and we always kept a nice mansion. We always had a house, a band, we call a band house. So it took a little cash. But nobody had to worry about, if you didn't have any, if you spent all your money, whatever, you had a place to stay and you had food,
So nobody was out on the street?
No, never. Nobody ever really worried.
Yeah. Now, do you play all the saxophones, baritone, bass, and alto and soprano saxes as well?
Yeah.
When I see you, you're always playing tenor, right?
Yeah. Rock and roll is tenor. Richard didn't like alto. He liked tenor.
Yeah.
So but I have them all.
I hear you. And the guys that that also played alongside you in Richard's band, I mean, they come from pretty diverse musical backgrounds as well. I think one of the guys played saxophone with Elton John, another one with Lyle Lovett or somebody. And
Lyle Lovett,
Straight.
yeah. Harvey Thompson. He played muscle shows. He played on a lot of those recordings. Yeah, he was pretty famous.
Indeed.
But that's one of the things you were talking about. We were tight and exciting. Those musicians would never, on their own, ever come together as a group. Richard brought us together. You had country players, rock and roll players, funk players, jazz players. You had all these different mixture type music players playing together.
And that's what made it work. That's what gave you that unique sound.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so Kelvin Holly playing guitar.
Right.
This is an incredible guitarist, Charles Glenn.
Yeah.
And of course Mark and everybody on the drums, and just phenomenal. What was the guitar player's last name?
Mark
This
Dole.
is no, not no. I know Mark. This is a long time ago. It might have been before you. His name was Travis. Played guitar.
His last name I don't remember.
No. His first name was Travis.
First name was Travis. Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty good guitar player as well.
And after him we had John Helms. Yeah.
So how is Richard spending his time now? Is he happy? Is he content?
Well, he's pretty much just stays in his room, Yeah. He's trying to relax. He's dealing with a little pain. So
yeah, I remember the last time I saw him play, he was in pain. I felt really, really bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's certainly given me and the rest of the world lots of joy. He deserves whatever he wants to do. I wish he was still playing. But I also understand, if he wants to rest and just sit back and be happy, more power to him. I love Little Richard, and I'm very appreciative for all the music that he's given the world. I do a bunch of his songs. I could never do them like him, but I just love playing them. And it's always exciting. Always brings a smile to my face. And I'm so grateful to have lived during a time when I actually got to know the people that I idolized and got to work with some of them, on the same stage. That's just a blessing, beyond compare. And Richard certainly has been one. And I know that he was very, very blessed to have you in that band, because I'm telling you, that band is and has yet to be surpassed, in my opinion, as the greatest rock and roll band of all time.
Wow. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I mean, he and Chuck Berry invented rock and roll and, taught us everything we need to know. And there's yet to be anybody that can surpass that.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
Is that you playing what are you playing over there?
No, that's the doorbell. Doorbell.
That's your doorbell.
I think it's Jay.
Well,
wait. Keep the motorcycle. Don't bring the motorcycle in here, Jay.
Yeah. You ever seen Jay Leno's car collection too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
I was playing in a club out one time out there in the hills, and Jay Leno came in on there on his motorcycle. Is that right? It was a motorcycle type thing.
Uh-huh.
I was playing with a band at the time. Yeah, he came up in his motorcycle. We kicked it for a little while. We used to play. We played there quite a few times, 2 or 3 times on the show.
Oh yeah. I've seen you on Jay Leno's show a couple of times. In fact, I think you did it one time on New Year's Eve or something.
Yeah.
We did it
one time with Chuck Berry.
Yeah. You did it with Chuck Berry too. Yeah. I saw you walked the audience with your sax on that show. Well, listen, Kenny, I really, really appreciate your spending time here with me on the show, and I wish you all the best. And I look forward to getting out of lockdown and getting back out there and playing together again with you sometime. I really always have a ball when you're on stage with me because you make my band look good too.
Oh, I was looking at that video we did. I don't know where it was, but I remember I had to take a taxi there.
You took a taxi there? Where was
I did a gig there, and then
it's somewhere in Virginia.
Yeah, I can't remember where it was. I think it was DC. But anyway, after the gig, he said, "Yeah, come on down." And I took the taxi there. The guy drove me around the city for a while. I could tell because you gave me a ride back, and the ride back only took 20 minutes, and that included stopping at the diner. We stopped at the diner and ate, but it took me an hour to get there.
He knew you were a tourist, man. You got to watch out for those DC cabs, man.
Yeah, but that was a nice gig, though. It was you videoed it, and I saw it.
And most importantly, did you get paid?
After paying for the taxi, I felt like I was back at the club there. At the climax.
Well, listen, man. Listen, man. I want you to stay in touch with me, man, and for sure, when all this stuff is gone away, we got to get back out there and do some gigs together.
All right, we'll do that.
Okay, next time
we got to do that one.
Absolutely, and I'll do the harmony.
All right.
And in the meantime, when you talk to, we'll get Del on the gig as well. We'll bring him out of retirement because he retired too. Elvis is a saxophone player. When you talk to Richard next time, please give him my regards.
I sure will.
All right, Kenny, I appreciate it very, very much. This is Daryl Davis, hoping all you listeners out there will tune in next time for
Changing Minds.